What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Crypto Poppy Daily Show. Guys, I am so pumped. Thank you so much for being here. We've got a great conversation coming up with Alexi from Boneworld. You know, I haven't talked all that much about Solana NFTs on this show, but I'm super pumped to introduce you to the first project that I really got bullish on the Solana network. I had been hanging around Solana for a bit and just observing and trying to figure out what I wanted to get involved in, and finally came across this project. And for once, it didn't seem like just a good old cash grab with a copy and paste from the Ethereum network. So, that's definitely what caught my attention. And as I minted Boneworld and got more involved in, there's a lot more that caught my attention about the project. So, with that being said, guys, I am super pumped to introduce you to Alexi. And Alexi,
Hey, what's
welcome, my
up?
man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely, good to meet you. We haven't, we just met off stage, but that's the first time that we've met.
Yeah.
Of course, you're super active in the Discord, so I feel like I know you. But this is actually the first time meeting.
Yeah, gotta be there, man, every day. Gotta listen, gotta participate. I'm
Yeah.
even like sniping my own stuff. I'm getting very excited when I buy my own NFTs. like it's
So I want to ask
yeah.
you, I want to start by asking you first. So, this was definitely the first project that caught my attention on the Solana stuff. Much of the other things that I had looked at just didn't really seem very original. And so, what are your thoughts on, now having worked with Solana and, is that, was that a good decision in hindsight? Is that, how do you feel about the blockchain, about where it stands today?
Well, look, my favorite thing is just how much smoother it is. Like everything on it feels frictionless, and you don't have any like it. Like I guess as I said off stage, like going from like I have to go back to Ethereum sometimes because I still have Ether and I have USDT, and just converting it, and like every transaction is just so sluggish, and you have to approve like, and there's like $40 fees, and even if like in the big scheme of things, it's not that much. It feels like going back to dial up from having broadband. Like you're always, I think, like, when you have to pay by the minute and you're like sitting there waiting for something to load and your minutes run out, and you're kind of like, that's the thing. And I mean, Ethereum's great. I love it. Like, it's revolutionary. It's, amazing tech. But obviously, as everyone can tell, it makes onboarding hard. I think that's the biggest issue. Like when you invite new people to join and to figure out what NFTs are and experiment with, like every experiment costs you $40 a transaction. And when you're just starting out, like, if you're like, okay, I'll put like I'll put like $500 into collectibles. And then you find out that, every transaction, every cent costs you $40. That's a pretty steep price to pay for, for people who are just getting into it, especially when, it's not like they paid, $100 for the collectible. They paid like 60 and then 40 just disappeared. So when they're reselling it, there's going to be another $40 transaction. And so they have to resell it for like significantly more. And I think that's a major like stumbling block for new people coming in. So I think from that perspective, I think Solana is great for that. It's just so smooth and frictionless. And
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we obviously love Ethereum NFTs here, but there's no denying that it comes with its issues. And entry level projects seem to be the more difficult ones that are suffering from high gas prices when Ethereum's pumping, and that's
yeah,
everybody's first experiences. If you're not coming from crypto, right? So you're not paying 0.01 in gas. You're actually paying $100 in gas. It's a
exactly.
very different world. And I've helped to onboard a lot of people over the 3 months. And literally, the first thing that happens is they basically say, "What do you mean I got to spend $100 to move this from here to here?" Or I got to spend $100 just to mint something that's going to cost me $100, or
Exactly.
to buy something off the floor, that's going
Yeah,
to
yeah,
cost me $100 in gas for a $100 item.
yeah.
So,
Like if you bought in at
absolutely,
$100 per ether, it's fine. But if you're buying in now, it's not, you know, it's hard. It's a hard sell, like for new people.
yeah, it sure is. So, was this a big topic of discussion before you decided to launch? Like, how seriously did you guys take the, Ethereum versus Solana? Or was it like a no brainer for you?
No, it wasn't like there wasn't much discussion. Like, my partner and his dev, they said we have the Solana network, it's pumping, it's growing ridiculously fast. People are moving to it. I mean, right now it doesn't really have any big kind of notable projects. A lot of it is like, rip-offs from Ether and stuff. So we'd have like a great market opportunity there to kind of, get in with something original. And if on Ethereum, we'd probably stand out less. Like, granted, there's a lot more whales. But here, you could get in and the experience is super smooth. And if you're onboarding new people, that'll be super smooth. And I'm like, well, fuck it, let's be pioneers, let's let's go with that. It's not so, and this whole thing about blockchain, it's all about the future. It's all about trying new stuff. So it seemed like a,
yeah,
straightforward choice that way.
All right, so I absolutely fell in love with Boneworld immediately because of the art.
Thank you.
I look at this stuff, man. Honestly, they give me that feeling of I just want to hold them, like
Exactly.
in real life. Like that's kind of what they.
It's coming soon, man. It's coming soon. We're working on it. We already got like a bunch of shops in the US who want to sell them. They're like, we want this in our streetwear shop. So it's definitely on the horizon. We're just catching up to everything that's happening.
So tell me a little bit about where did this concept come from? How did it evolve?
Well, it was mainly, again, like, since we're kind of like, I'm an artist, but honestly, most of my life I've been a production artist. So I'm not really like artistic. I'm not, all about emotion and feelings. I just like making things that look pretty. And I work for advertising and companies which, need to use my stuff to sell their own product. So a lot of this was just trying to figure out partly what's lacking in the market right now. If everyone's making cute animals, we should probably make something else. And that was like my first desire was to make like a hamster or like some cats. But my partner's like, there's like a million hamsters and cats, man. There's, we're gonna do something else. And Maria was saying that she really liked the Nightmare Before Christmas, and generally skeletons are cool. And like, we remember that we enjoyed playing Grim Fandango back in the days and the art style of that. And yeah, so he's like, why don't we make some skeletons? And, and I'm like, well, I make cute things. Skeletons aren't very cute, but I'll give it a shot. And after some iterations, me and Maria managed to make skeletons cute. And that's,
They sure are. Even my brain out, which I minted, I was super pumped about minting one of the brain outs.
Oh, nice.
I find is like super cute too.
Yeah.
And the concept of Boneworld, tell us a little bit about the story, about the brand and the project that you're building.
Well, look, right now I'm sure people have seen the Bone Island kind of concepts. That's going to be our main kind of destination, so to say, which will be like this. It's like it started off as a staking island because once we launched, everyone started doing the staking things for royalties, and we're like, well, we should figure out something like that. So that's when we started developing the idea of Bone Island. But then the SEC thing came and they were like, kind of, so we don't know. Honestly, I still want to do something to do with royalties and issuing your own coins, and because I love economics, so that's all kind of, but for the time being, we've converted it to more of a destination. So any future launches that will happen based on the story of what's happening in Bone Island. So right now, basically, we have like the company, which is like this kind of, shady kind of corporation, which is looking for a place for a vacation for the Skellies. And it's found this island, and the island has some, local inhabitants. And, so, some of them were supportive of the idea of us building a vacation resort there, and some of them not so much. So there was like a discovery of some contamination, and, a lot of the inhabitants had to be evacuated. And that's going to be our drop of like spiders that are going to the wallets, in the next couple of days. And the story will evolve basically about things that happen on the island. Like, I don't know, have you played Fortnite?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you know how they have these events and they have like storylines and they have like animations and intro videos? Yep. Basically, we're kind of doing the same thing. We're building the plot of things that happen on the island. Like the sequel will be Bone Mechs, and Bone Mechs will be a thing that happens because suddenly we're not allowed to go to Bone Island anymore. And for some reason, the company is, telling everyone to learn how to control a mech. So, that's going to be kind of the story that we drive because something happened and it'll require, defense with Bone Mechs. So, we're going to be driving the whole kind of plot. And depending on how our partners go, we might be able to bring it into like actual 3D metaverse stuff, or some of it will be purely like, just narrative. And also, I had this great idea recently, it just came up, that we can actually rent out plots of land on the island to other projects. And for example, like if, Thugbirds rents out like a surf shack there, then we can make a bunch of like a collection like of 200 Skelly employees who are like, Thugbird branded and kind of, they're like, holding surfboards and stuff. So there's a lot of potential for collaboration and building it that way, like through, not just like swapping art, but actually there's like a story of why we're, using each other's art in our work.
So do you anticipate that Bone Island will be an NFT land in one of the metaverses, Decentraland? Have you made a decision around that yet?
Maybe not Decentraland, but I think we're always talking to people. Like I'm always looking for things. Like one of my artist partners that we're talking to right now, he told me like, man, you realize we could actually just build our own metaverse, right? We have all the contacts in the industry. We know all the software. We can like do this, relatively effectively. And I was like, damn, we really can, So I'm focusing right now on getting through the stuff that we promised. Like we promised the FBX files so people can use them in whatever game they want, which supports FBX files, which is a pretty universal file. Like it already has the joins, so you load it in and you'll be able to run around as your Skelly. And we have like Skelly pets that we want to deliver because we promised them to our early supporters and active community members. And after that, we'll start thinking about building a 3D universe or integrating with other game companies.
I actually just remembered that you ran into some pricing issues, let's call it. Very early on, right? Like when you started the minting, I was watching you guys, and then I think you guys pivoted like really fast. Like you kind of read and sensed what the community was saying. You pivoted, and it actually worked in your case, which, by the way, is super rare from what I've seen. Other projects that failed to kind of get off the ground and potentially got the price wrong, they tend to have a hard time to even make that up. But you guys, as soon as the price lowered, like people were all over it, and you sold out. I remember very, very quickly at that point.
Yeah.
How was that period of time for you?
Well, basically, like when we started, like the guy who was organizing the launch, like it was a collector who bought one of my pieces off the foundation. Like he liked my art, and he was the one who approached me, like, let's make a project together. And he was handling the launch and the prices and the marketing. And basically, like, I didn't really interfere with him. He's like, let's sell it for 3 Sol. And I'm like, dude, you're the boss. You know more about this than I do. He's like, he has like some web shops and stuff. So he has like a marketing department, and they crunched the numbers, I guess, and they decided this was what was going to work. But then when they launched and it didn't work, they were basically, okay, so I guess our research wasn't that good. So at that point, I got a lot more say. Like their plan was to always hand over the project at the end to me so that I, as the artist, can lead it to wherever I want. But basically, so they asked me like, so what do you think we should do? Should we cut the supply in half? Should we, cut the price in half? And at first I'm like, let's not, I was like, internally, I was against cutting the price in half because I felt like the people who believed in the project and paid 2.9 Sol, they'd be kind of upset that they thought it was 2.9 Sol and now suddenly it's halved. So instinctively I said, no, let's hold off on that. Let's announce that we're, halving the supply and see how it goes. And then basically I just went into Discord myself now as not just as an artist, but actually as a person who has an, intrinsic interest in the project. And I just started asking all the people who were like posting and share your Skellies. I'm like, what do you think if we have the supply, or do we have the price and airdrop everyone a second one? And surprisingly, basically everyone I talked to, including the people who minted like, hundreds of them, they were like, yeah, dude, I love your art. Are you telling me I can get twice as much art for the same price? Like, yeah, let's do that. I think there was like one person who was, who said that it would devalue the project. And and also Big Sol Big Brain, he's a really big influencer in the Solana ecosystem, and he was also really helpful, and he, explained it to me, and I was like, okay, it seems like this is what we're doing, and so, we talked, and we're like, yeah, so we waited for like 12 hours or something, we slept on it, because like our problem with the launch as well is we were going to launch, it was at like, I think it was like 12 p.m. LA time, so that, basically Europe and Asia and America would all be awake at the same time. But there was a delay because AR Weave was down or something. So we had to push it to the next day. And then while I was sleeping, like I thought we were going to switch it 24 hours, but they decided to do it a bit earlier. So basically they did it at like 9 a.m. LA time or 9 a.m. New York time or something. So basically America was asleep, and anyone who's in crypto was probably asleep when we actually started the launch. And So I think that could have also, like, maybe we would have sold out if we actually launched it at the time we announced originally. But this way, kind of, I think that might have affected it. But yeah, basically, I talked to people. So I just went and I just DM'd every single person, and I'm like, "What do you think? What's your opinion? How would you feel about this?" And yeah, and the consensus was that we should have to price and airdrop people. So we did that.
Yeah. That's amazing. No, that's good that you kind of analyzed the situation, looked back a little bit, and pivoted quickly enough that it wasn't detrimental to the project at all.
The
You
worst
got,
thing is once we switched the price and we reached out to, I think you also retweeted us about the new price, and Big Soul Brain did it, and a couple of others influencers did it, and then the node that our server was connected to, like, I don't know, something happened to it, just slowed to a crawl, like the Solana node. And it just like was minting like 3 a minute, and everyone in Discord was like, "I want to mint more, but I can't." And I'm like, this is. So that also really slowed down the whole process. But eventually we got there. So I think honestly, it already kind of doesn't matter. It was already so long ago, like 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. I think in a month or two, it'll be just like a blip on some small hardships that we had while launching.
Yeah. One of the things I told you offline is that, I always look for active teams. It's very important to me because what can often happen in projects that we get into is, there's hype before the mint, and then the project sells out, and then you start to just see a deterioration in activity from the team. So, that I've seen the complete opposite from you, and it's one of the reasons I haven't even sold a single one.
Thanks.
For those that are on this channel know that I'm a trader, so I will often, recuperate funds when I know that I can. And in this case, it's just I know that I'm in this one for way longer than that. And part of it is that I can see like you're putting your heart and soul into this project. How big is the team right now? And are you full time in this space?
Yeah, I'm full time, man. Because I'm a freelancer. Like I do 3D stuff as freelance, but now this is so much more fun. I don't have to deal with clients. I mean, granted, I have like thousands of clients on Discord now, but they like my work a lot more, and they're not trying to use it to sell their own stuff. So it's a much more pleasant experience. Yeah, so basically, me and Maria, we're full time on this now because we've been working together for years, and now we're just in this. This is our thing. This is basically just what we like. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. I think I have no reason to ever drop this. Like, even if if there's like some crisis and the prices go down, there's no royalties. We can, like, all the technical stuff that we've promised, we can do it ourselves. It might take a bit longer, but we can just keep hammering it away, slowly progressing through it. We don't really have any huge living expenses. We live in Eastern Europe, so it's pretty dirt cheap here. And we're just, so right now we're the core team, but I've also hired David as a marketing lead, and I have one other 2D artist on board. He's doing a lot of the post work and stuff for the website, and I'm planning on bringing in another 3D artist. He'll be doing a lot more animations and kind of big environment stuff. He's really into that, and he's like super thrilled also about the art. And we have a bunch of moderators / consultants. Like, that's what I love about the community. Our mods are basically like council members in a DAO, because they're like, they're all holders. They all love the community. They're there because the ones that we bring in are the ones that are recommended by our other mods. So it's all very kind of involved. Like, this isn't like, basically none of this project is hired help at this point. Like, except our main dev, he's new to Solana and crypto in general, but he's an old friend of mine, and we're basically, he's fully enthralled. He built his own blockchain between his 3 computers using Python. He's like, I just want to know how all of this works.
Yeah, and who isn't new? Who isn't new to Solana?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I've been trying to I've been trying to hire a developer, a blockchain developer recently, and I'm having better luck with a traditional developer trying to sort of learn the new platforms. Because if you're in the Solana network or ETH and you're already coding in that, like, you're busy.
Yeah, exactly.
You got your own a billion things going on, a billion opportunities.
Yeah. So you have to bring in other ones, and this guy I've known for years, so I trust him, and so that's kind of, and he used to work for Citibank or something, so like a security expert. So he's like, awesome. Skilled.
So Louise asks a very valid point, and sometimes you mentioned as well that maybe Solana has less whales, so it's there's less volume, less people on the blockchain. and wonder if you have any strategies or any thoughts around collaborating with ETH projects.
For sure. Like, well, my main strategy is that I have David, who's reached out to you, and he's basically like doing all of this. Like, he's looking for other projects to collaborate. The thing is, we're trying to build collaborations which are more than like. Honestly, I hate the word collaboration in the crypto space because usually it's just a giveaway together, and I'm like, that's not a collaboration. That's not the word. That's not what the word was designed for. You know. So I'm always looking for ways to actually cross art. Like, so if we can, I guess because I'm an artist and not a marketer, I kind of, my focus is on that. Like, if we can build things where they use our art, we use their art, and then we, cross promote that to our collectors, I think that's like what I'm aiming for.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're open to any blockchain. We don't have any, if BAYC wants to, how do I say that out loud? I've written it so many times, but I've never. Bored Apes, I guess. If Bored Apes want to collaborate,
Or
I'm all in.
BAYC, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, David's doing a great job reaching out. We're reaching out to a lot of celebrities, and some of them are reaching out to us, and that's just crazy. Like TM88 reached out to us, and he's just super excited about this whole thing. And we made that honorary. I think you saw with the palm trees and the neons and stuff, the golden one. So I talked to Illmind yesterday, or the day before yesterday. He's also super thrilled, and he likes the art. So and he's like, also super well connected with all the celebrities. So I think as we make these honoraries for these big people, they'll start showing them to their friends, and they'll start wanting them. And I think that'll be a great kind of push into mainstream adoption.
And I also wonder, I haven't seen this done yet. You ever think about actually doing like an airdrop on ETH?
I did actually think about, how we can build a presence on Ethereum, because I'm seeing like knockoffs of Boneworld on, OpenSea all the time. Like, I'm reporting them and I'm blocking them. And I'm thinking maybe we should make like an official collection of like, maybe like 20, like not a big one, just like 20 skellies, which are on ETH, and, they're maybe very Solana themed.
Yeah.
Just so that we have like an official page and presence there, which kind of sends people towards Solana. And yeah, but it's definitely something that's crossed my mind. I mean, I'm not a fan of the $40 per transaction, but it might be worth it. I think, it's definitely, I'll be talking to people about that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I've often wondered if someone's going to do that as a means to bring attraction to the original collection. The nice thing is that the OG collection, the OG Skellies, will always be on Solana, and so ideally, what it's doing is serving a purpose of making people more aware about what
Actually,
you've
that's
got
one of
going
my
on.
things when you said the OG Skellies, because I was looking at some other projects yesterday, and I realized a lot of them don't like my main goal here is that these original Skellies are going to always go up in price. Like, as in everything I launch, everything I drop, every new collection, you will need to hold Skellies to get them. Like, there is nothing I'm going to be minting or giving out that, like, I want basically, I want the people who hold the Skellies to be able to, be like the distributors. Like, so they get the drops and then they can resell them or do whatever they want. So that way the Skellies will always, be growing in value with time. Like, they will be the kind of entry point. But I saw a lot of other projects don't seem to really, they seem to be focusing on converting stuff to Gen 2, or, even like with time, there'll be new collections, which are the ones that people are enjoying, and the first ones kind of, fall out of favor. For me, it's really important to build the original collection, like the OGs, so that people can just buy them and hold them and come back in like 4 years and go, oh, great, this one's cost $1 million, like.
Yeah.
Like, that's my general, directive, so to say.
So you you went from mesmerizing me with your amazing art for the Skellies, and then you dropped some spiders, like some sick spiders in the Discord. And tell us about the spiders.
Well, initially it was just like I wanted to, because when the staking, everyone started talking about how other projects are doing staking, and I'm like, okay, that does sound like a pretty cool solution, because on the first couple of days the royalties were like rolling in very quickly, and I was like, well, I feel like I'm totally happy with sharing this with the community. So I figured, splitting royalties sounds like a great idea, and I'm like, well, let's make a staking island, so it's not just automatic dropping. It's actually, we have to, like, because if you stake your items, they obviously go off the market, so that reduces supply, puts upward pressure, so the price should go up. So let's make people stake their Skellies for 30 days, and have the royalties split up between the people who are currently staking. And I figured I don't want to risk using actual skellies to test out the system. So I'm like, we're going to need some, NFTs that we can airdrop to people that they can use for testing the system. And initially it was just going to be like a simple skelly head or something. But then Maria said, oh, I have this spider. Remember, because we're selling, like before we started this, we were selling models that other people can use in their projects. And we had this model of a spider. It was just a very basic white spider. And we're like, well, we can just drop this. And we're like, yeah, but we should probably, make it a bit Boneworld themed and give it some like a skelly head or something on it. And we had a skelly head, and they're like, well, we should probably add some leaves. And it's on an island, so we make it look a bit more tribal. And basically, we got a bit carried away, and then we showed them to the community, and the community loved it. And we're like, well, I guess we're gonna have to make some more of these. And then we're like, well, we should probably make some rare ones. And like we were like this close to making it like a full 10K collection, but we decided, nah, we're gonna save that for later. For now, we're just gonna do this multi-edition drop. And yeah, so that's basically how the spiders came to be.
I'm assuming the 10K collection will be the pets that were part
the pets are going to be 500. They're going to be a full collection with traits, but they're only going to be 500 of them, and they're only going to be issued to the community members that have the Skelly pet roll.
Oh, okay.
So hopefully the floor on those will be like huge, because they won't be dropped to anyone who's flipping.
Yeah. So how does one get that roll?
It's active community members. Like the role is issued by mods for people who contribute. It's not like you can't grind towards it, you can't farm towards it. It's generally like people who are active in the community, who are helpful. Like a lot of people have told us that our community is very helpful and friendly, and I think this plays a big role. Like, we're recommended. We have like a running list of people who, they're like, we think this person should get it, and then other people like, put a support emoticon on it, and we're like, oh yeah, awesome, that person gets a Skelly pet roll.
Wow. And then there'll be free airdrops for those?
Yeah, there'll be free airdrops for those people, yeah.
Unbelievable. Damn, I gotta get really active up in there.
Yeah.
I love that. And the spiders themselves, so my understanding is they're not gonna have traits, but there are different classes of spiders. How many classes are there?
I think right now we have like 9 or 10. There's basically going to be like the basic spider. Like basically initially we were going to drop just the same spider to everyone, obviously, but then we decided to make some variations. And then people were like, well, there should be some more FOMO involved in this. So we're like, okay, fine, we'll make some rare ones. And then someone was like, well, we can't just drop it to everyone. We're going to encourage people to buy more skellies. And we're like, okay, fine. So we'll make it like a minimum of 3 skellies for 1 spider. And then people are like, yeah, but what about the people who have only 1 skelly now? It's unfair to them. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. We had a big discussion in the Discord. And basically that's why we made the basic spider, which is for the people who only have 1 or 2 skellies. So they also don't get left out. So, it's going to be less valuable because there's going to be more of them. But, now everybody gets a spider. And some people now really like the basic spider. So they're like splitting them up. They split up to have a separate wallet so they could also get the basic spider.
Yeah. I was thinking today, oh gosh, I now need another Phantom wallet or something.
Yeah.
So my understanding, and this is credit to Dotsy, because I see he's there in the chat,
Dotsy's
and I know
great.
he put this together in the Discord. So 1 skelly equals 1 basic spider, 2 skellies equals 1 basic spider.
Yeah.
3 skellies equals a common spider or a rare spider.
Yeah, it's just randomly. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
4 skellies, 5, and so on.
Yeah, so for every 3 skellies you have, you get a common or rare spider. And if you don't have at least 3 skellies, you just get a basic one.
And how many, like, how limited is the supply of, like, the super rare spider? Like, how limited?
The rare spiders will be like less than 20 each. There's like 4 different rare spiders, and they'll be like less than 20 each of them. So they'll be like incredibly
wow,
rare.
super ultra rare.
Yeah. But there'll be like 20 of them. And also, like, as I was working on this, I realized this is actually a really good way to do collaborative projects. For example, the Grape team are the ones that are verifying, if you own an NFT, and then on Discord you get a roll. So I'm thinking of like dropping also 10 spiders which are grape themed, so they're like purple with grapes, and then we can also collaborate with other projects and have like, so it won't. Since this is a 10K collection, we can just keep making themed spiders and adding them. And again, there will be only like 10 or 20 of them. So it'd be very limited to the entire supply, but it would be like this fun kind of collectible game where, all the spiders, they're not really worth that much. It's not going to be hundreds of dollars. It'll probably be like, $5-20 each, but people will be able to trade them and like collect all 10 and whatnot. And I think that's a kind of a different dynamic from, what we have with the Boneworld main collection.
What are your ultimate goals with this collection? Like, I still find that, first of all, Solana sort of needs a real blue chip project, and I know some people think calling NFTs blue chips is weird, but I do.
And
And
when you get a
uh,
market cap to 4 million in 3 days, that's like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. That's like, and people complain, or like in any other industry, that's like a unicorn, and we're like,
right. And so, what are your sort of ultimate goals and plans at the end of the world? At the end of the day
end
for
of the
the
world, yeah.
world, end of the world. I like that.
Yeah, well, honestly, like as I've been more, interacting with the community, I think one of the things that kind of feels like important to do with this is I want to figure out the legal aspects of NFT for the general world. Like, I think the most important things is figuring out this issue with the SEC. If that means figuring out digital backed securities for NFTs, then that's, I think, what I'm going to aim for. Also, like I was talking to a lawyer here in Poland, and he said that, like, because I was like, if money's coming in, I guess I should make this a corporation so I could hire people and pay people and whatnot. But he said the problem with that is that there's no kind of legal history for what to do with a corporation which sells digital products for other digital products, like basically imaginary and imaginary. Like, the law has figured out what to do when you're selling crypto coins for fiat, because there's like an invoice, there's like you've sold this much for this much local currency, so that's easy. But how do you handle the books when both of the things are digital and they're all floating? Like, sometimes the NFTs go up in price, sometimes the crypto goes up in price. And so that would all be have to figure it out through court cases and, the legal system. And I think that would be an amazing thing to figure out, because I feel like that's valuable for the whole crypto space, like how that integrates with our everyday life. Like, what's the, if you're starting a charity and you want to raise money through crypto, how do you do that? How do you, so I think honestly, like that's kind of like my big end of the world, so to say, scenario. Like that's kind of where I want to take this. And I heard Bored Apes are also kind of looking into like issuing their own currency, and they're also talking to lawyers. So I'll probably, like, once I have Boneworld on like a steady footing and I have the whole production machine kind of, running smoothly, I'll probably start reaching out to other projects to talk about, this kind of grand plan things. Because I think that's where I want to kind of, as like the mark that I want to leave on the world. Like I never had this inside desire to leave a huge mark on the world. I just, I make tutorials, people watch them, they learn, they're happy. For me, that was kind of, I like that. Like I teach people how to do what I do. But here, now that I see this and I see the potential of, crypto and decentralization, and I think, it'll be huge if I could contribute to, figuring that out.
Yeah, I love the sensible approach you're taking. So clearly, there's projects that have taken a different approach and said, we're just going to do it, and we'll, figure out later what this means. And and me, like the true degen that I am, may invest in those, but it's always going to be very short term, in the sense of I know that I'm kind of trying to play a wave, and I know that I got to be out before things come down harder. And I like your approach of saying, we want to do this, we want to figure this out, we think there's value to investors, and we just want to make sure that we do it the right way and don't put the entire franchise now in jeopardy, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because like the thing, like I used to be a gambler. I had a significant problem with Texas Hold'em. That's actually like my company is called Ace 5 Studios, because Ace 5 was like my lucky hand. It was like my all-in hand, and it obviously didn't go well a lot. But basically, at some point, I'm like, okay, my studio is now called Ace 5 Studios, and I don't gamble anymore. I'll pay off my debts and just leave this. So I have like a soft spot for people who like, are playing this huge game of chicken with every NFT drop, where everyone kind of, goes in on the wave and then tries to sell out before it falls. Like, it's incredibly exciting. I'm kind of restraining myself from participating in it, but but I definitely, like, I feel that. But I feel like there's space for all kinds of projects, and I think, like, because I love economics, like, one of my favorite books is like Debt, the First 5,000 Years. It's like a history of how debt and money, evolved throughout human history. So I love economics. I love, monetary theory and all that stuff. And here, like, what I'm seeing is right now we're just trading, pictures, and we're just gambling. But like the infrastructure that's being built to support this is huge. Like this will be like how I think, like, this is like the internet. Like right now, people are still treating it as like, oh, it's a place where you can, like, watch porn or gamble or whatever. When the internet in the 90s was like, everyone was just treating it like, oh, it's a fad or whatever. It lets people do this. But now we live on it. Now it's our life. And I think like decentralization and this whole like crypto and blockchain thing, it'll be as essential to us as the internet is now. And more stuff will adapt to it, and we'll have to. And right now, again, we're figuring it out with something relatively harmless. Nobody's life really depends on crypto art right now or collectibles. But that's where you're testing dynamics, you're testing how people react, how the systems hold up. Like obviously the Ethereum $40 transactions is not is showing one of the flaws that can happen when when there's gas wars. But I think this is going to be huge. Like this is going to, and I want to be part of that. I want to be kind of figuring that out along with all the other projects and pushing it forward to see where we can go.
Yeah, I love that. And oftentimes people will misinterpret a team that's making different moves or maybe isn't committing to saying, hey, on this date in a month we're going to introduce staking and stuff. They'll misinterpret that as if they're just flying by the seat of their pants. But I think what people don't really realize is that like this is no different than like Silicon Valley and startups and the way they experiment with what works and what doesn't. And just imagine what Uber had to go through to actually be allowed to, even do business in many cities, who stood up against them and said, forget it. You're not bringing your business here. And conversations and topics like this started with what's right and what isn't. And we are so early in the space that even the creators like Alexi, who are doing a ton of research and living and breathing it, are still trying to figure out what's right and what isn't, right? So, you have to kind of leave room for flexibility and to steer the ship in different perspectives based on what's going on in the overall market.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like nobody knows. I mean, like sometimes people feel like, oh, you didn't do this, or you got late here, or why can't the devs, do a proper launch? And I'm like, well, because this is all like, we're just starting. This is all like super new, where everyone's like figuring stuff out. Like, have you tried finding, as you said, finding a blockchain dev? They're all like super busy. Like, if you want a blockchain dev, you got to like train him yourself. It's
right.
Yeah.
I straight up, I firmly believe that enterprises will be born out of the things that all of you are building. And I get frustrated when somebody says, oh, this is just like any regular shitcoin, 10K PFPs are basically the shitcoins. Well, you know what? Those shitcoins in back in 2017, some of those shitcoins are now called Solana, Cardano.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Where do you think this stuff was born from? These
Yeah.
are Sure, now we look at it and say, wow, Solana and Cardano, and ETH, these are massive corporations now. Well, where do you think this stuff was born from?
Exactly.
And I really believe NFT 10K PFPs will eventually become the ones that obviously do well, will become enterprises, will be game changer, will set the standard for the future of NFTs.
Yeah, no, and I think it's not just NFTs, it's the future of like finance, economics, charities. Like I had this idea, I've been mulling it over for a while. I kind of shared it a couple of times. The more I share it, the more I kind of like it. I have this idea is I want to make a charity project for raising money for bees. Like there was this guys called Detroit Hives, and I made a 3D bee for them once, like this kind of character just for their Instagram. And I want to make a project once Boneworld is kind of steady, which is just like a 10K PFP collectible project of different bee characters, kind of like Boneworld with different characteristics. And I want to make it so that all the profits from that go to, different bee foundations, like because, we have a problem with not enough bees on this planet and we need them to grow food and flowers and whatnot. And all the royalties will also go there. And I want to use that as a template to figure out how charities can use this kind of art collections to raise money, because there's so much more dynamic there than just getting money from because if you just donate money to a charity, you're like, okay, it's gone, and you can tell people that you donated $2,000 to a charity or 50 grand. But here you'll actually have an NFT which will grow in value because it's symbolic of your commitment to the environment and helping with stuff. But also you actually help people while buying it, and now you can trade it and other people can buy it. And as PFPs become more of a status symbol and more of a when you look at now when I meet someone, I check what I have a look at their wallet and I see what they've bought into, what they're holding, and that'll become more and more common. Like I'm sure Twitter will soon have people will have links like this is my wallet, and you can have a look at what they're invested in, what they care about, what they bought into. So I want this to be like a template of how or not a template, but one of the possible ways of how charities can raise money, because I think this is a huge opportunity, and the pictures make it fun. Like I think that's kind of like game dynamics and purpose. I think it's a very powerful combination.
Dude, Alexi, man, I was bullish on Boneworld, before I got to talk to you. I am like ultra mega bullish on Boneworld
Awesome,
now.
man. I need to make a video, like I need to make an intro video for the website so people can watch this and like all my ideas. Because right now I'm just sharing it on these live streams, but I should really kind of condense it to like, a 30-second thing or so people can.
Yeah, but it's clear, man. Like you got you know what you know where you want to go. You're an
Yeah.
incredibly talented artist. I mean,
Thank you.
that was literally the first thing that caught my
It's
attention.
not just me,
So
it's me and Maria. Honestly, my art has got a lot better since Maria started working with me. So, you got to remember she's a bit camera shy, but she does exist and she's a huge part of this.
awesome. Well, I hope to
Yeah.
meet Maria someday as well. She rocks as well. You guys are doing a phenomenal job, and I'm bullish now because I can see that you as a creator, like we're better for having you in the space as a creator and having you guys not only creating
Thanks.
great stuff
Thanks.
that we love to collect, but also like you're looking to change the game and figure out how do we make this, how do we evolve this from where it is today to even potentially giving royalties back to charity. Like I'm bullish, man. I'm bullish on you. I love everything you're saying.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
Well, guys, so any let's actually, I'm gonna ask you a question before I'm gonna put you on
Hmm.
the spot before I let you wrap this up. So I know
Hmm.
you're doing some honorary stuff, and I
Yes.
happen to think that my Deathbot ape would look pretty sick in a Bone World. What are your thoughts on that?
I think we can, man. You're being very supportive, and we're supporting. Just we got to get through the list of our.
Did you
But I
guys
think
hear
we
that?
can.
Did you guys hear
I
that?
think we can definitely get you an honorary, man. I think that's it.
Dude,
Yeah.
I straight up, I've never asked anybody for that, but I really mean it when I say, like, if I could wear two PFPs, like my Solana PFP, which by the way you can in Discord now, which I love. They introduced that.
Oh yeah, they got little gifts where you can rotate through them. Yeah.
No, you can actually have now different profile pictures per Discord that you're
Oh
in.
yeah, yeah, for different
Yeah.
server. Yeah, that's really convenient. Yeah.
So I love that. And I will, if I can sport two PFPs, one is Bone World and the other one is Apes. And
Man,
that's
that's
the way I
awesome to
look
hear,
at
man.
both of
Okay,
these
okay,
two
you're definitely getting a
appliances.
Boneworld now. That's
Nice. And by the way, one more question. Sorry. Any update on Solana art and getting on that marketplace?
honestly, I don't know, man. They just kind of ghosted us, and okay, fine. I mean, I think we're doing pretty well as it is. We're like on
Yeah.
Sol analysis, we're like around 25, 30 all the time. So, and we're slowly moving up. Sometimes dropping, but I think honestly, it's not a big deal right now. We have a lot of marketplaces. People are actively buying and selling. It's okay. you
Yeah.
know.
Here's the interesting thing is I didn't know what Magic Eden was until Bone World.
Well,
And
it,
at
it
first,
it 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 appeared at the same time, man. Like it literally launched basically at the same time as we did. So that's why you didn't know about it.
oh, no way. I thought it'd
Yeah.
been there for a while.
No, no, it's brand new, man. It's like they reached out to us while we were, developing and stuff, and so yeah, it's
Oh,
all.
then so at first I was like, I don't know what this Magic Eden thing is, but I'm looking at my Bone World. I love my Bone World. I'm buying because I bought some off the floor too,
Yeah.
on top of minting. Um, and as I used it more and more, now I'm like, wait a minute, I think I'm more bullish on Magic Eden than Solana art anyway.
Yeah, they're really nice, and they're always evolving. They're always adding new features. Like they helped us with the Discord bot while we were still trying to figure out our sales bot. So they're super helpful and really great team. Love goes out to them. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome, man. All right. Any final words you want to leave collectors, investors with?
I don't know. I love you all, and I hope you all get rich from my art. That's 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 what I'm aiming for. Like,
And
I mean,
this is not financial advice.
yeah, no, definitely not. This is just hope. Like, I really like. I love the idea that people are, I love the idea that people are invest. Like, people write to me, they're like, I don't care if the price of bone walls goes to like 0.1. I'm just happy that I have them. Like, like there's people who bought like 10 or 12 of them. They're like, because one lady was writing to me that she bought some like salamanders or someone, and she said she minted them and she bought a couple for 10 sol, and then the developer just went on vacation after the mint finished, and she's like, and they're not even that pretty, and I feel like I should have spent that money on Boneworld. So that's kind of, I love that, and I love the people who support us for that, and I I'll do everything to make sure that I'll be bringing value. Like I'll be building things to make sure the price of Boneworld goes up. Like not just artificially, sweeping floors or pumping the price with raised funds. I want to build stuff that'll make these things valuable, and hopefully you can give them to your grandchildren as inheritance or something. Like that's kind of like the direction I'm going. Like I want to be like, someone's like, oh, my grandpa just, he died. I'm sad, but he just left me a Boneworld, with a gas mask. That's
I love it, man. Well, look, like I said, you're very genuine. That comes across. You're very dedicated to your work, and that comes across as well. And you built a great community very organically from day one. You had you even overcame some stumbling blocks at first, like graciously, really well done. I love everything about this project, which is why,
Thanks, man.
as soon as I talked to David, I thought absolutely would love to meet Alexi, and I'm even more bullish on it now. Guys, remember, not financial advice. I invest. I'm by no way sponsored, okay, by Boneworld. I literally just invest in what I like, and then I talk about it on YouTube.
Yeah, no, I definitely,
top of it.
I want to kind of drive this point home, like, because when a couple of people reached out to me, one guy reached out to me, said he minted 2 Boneworlds and he wanted to flip them, and then the price fell below floor, and he needed money for his medical expenses. Do not buy NFTs if you are struggling with cash. Like, honestly, don't put your rent money, don't put your medical money in. That is a terrible idea. Like, I understand people are desperate and they need to get through that, and sometimes this seems like a good idea, but it's like casino. Like, we have, obviously we're trying, we're working, but you should not risk your health and your life savings on NFTs. That's not don't. I love you all, and I love that you want to invest in it, but that's not a good plan. Like, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. The rides up and the rides down are way better when you're not messing with money that you can't afford to lose.
Yeah, like it's.
So, all right, Alexi, thanks so much, man, for stopping by.
Thanks for having me,
Super
man.
excited to see what Boneworld's gonna bring in the future. I've linked Twitter down below. I'll make sure to link the Discord as well. Join the Discord, incredible community, very active, very knowledgeable, and great. If you haven't got into Solana yet, I think this is an amazing project that can be a great entry into that space.
And we have a pretty low floor right now, so it's an easy one to get into right now. You're not out like $1,000 straight away.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks everyone for stopping by and checking out now. Peace.
Okay.